Alright guys, and welcome back to the channel for a very exciting video, and one that I think you'll find very useful, or at least I hope you do. I think my top gives it away a little bit, but today we're going to be talking about the Bundesliga. Now this week it was announced that football will return and we're getting Bundesliga football back. Now it's not something that I tend to watch a lot of. I follow it as an outsider, but obviously given that it's the only major league that's going to be on, I think for the next couple of weeks, if other leagues are starting again in the near future, everyone's going to be watching the German football, and so I thought it would be a good idea to get you all up to speed with what's happened in the Bundesliga so far and where we're at the point of it resuming. And before you get all salty about the fact that I'm wearing a Bayern top and oh he's so plastic, I used to live in Munich, so Bayern are my sort of second team, my European team I think. Obviously if you know me more, I'm a Southampton fan, but yeah, Bayern are my team. But I also have allegiance to another Bundesliga club, and that is the mighty FC Köln. Now, I went on German exchange a couple of years ago to Cologne, went to a game. Yes, that is Fetus Dan at a Cologne game. I will also be supporting them, and it'll be good because they've actually got a bit more to fight for. Like, it's a bit more exciting supporting a mid-table side anyway. They're quite like Southampton in that sense. But before we get into it, do make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already, with your notifications turned on, you're following me on my socials. And also let me know in the comments who you're supporting, which Bundesliga club are you going to be following during this period. It's kind of nice, I think it's really good for the German league actually, they're going to have loads of people watching. But anyway, let's get into the video. Now the way this video is going to be structured is first we're going to talk about the title race, who's in it, the push for Europe, and then also the relegation battles. So let's start with the title race. Now Bayern have pretty much dominated the Bundesliga for the last handful of seasons, winning it every year by quite a good margin, being favourites every single year to win the title. But this season, it's actually been very juicy at the top. They are top still, 4 points ahead of Dortmund, who are in second. But this is where it gets quite tasty because 1 point behind them in third is RB Leipzig, and Leipzig are only 1 point ahead of fourth place Borussia Mönchengladbach. So essentially, there's only 6 points separating first from fourth. And yes, of course, it'd be nice to see someone other than Bayern win the league. Yeah, I understand that. And I'm saying that with even wearing a Bayern top, so a bit of a contradiction, but it's a very good title race. It's blown open. It's not like in the Premier League where Liverpool have been clear winners of the league this season since I think about September, really, let's be honest. No one knows who's going to win the league. Bayern don't have a good lead, 2 defeats and Gladbach go and win 2 games. Gladbach could be top. Obviously it's probably not going to happen. I still think Bayern will win the league. I think they're just a bit too strong. But there is something to watch. It's going to be very, very entertaining. Now on to the push for Europe. With Bayern 8 points clear of 5th place Bayer Leverkusen, it seems pretty set that they will be in the Champions League next season. However, 2nd, 3rd and 4th place Dortmund, Leipzig and Gladbach still have quite a bit of work to do if they want to confirm their place in Europe's elite competition next season. With Leverkusen in 5th, just 2 points behind 4th place Gladbach, and 4 points behind 2nd place Dortmund. However, it seems that if any other side is going to break into the top 4 from those sort of teams, it's going to be Leverkusen, because all the other teams in the rest of the table, they're just not near enough to the top 4. Schalke in 6th are 10 points behind Leverkusen. It's going to be 4 of those 5 teams that get into the Champions League next season, and it'd be quite interesting to see if Leverkusen can break into that top 4. And even though the Bundesliga is 18 teams instead of 20 like in the Premier League, Liga, Serie A, etc., it's the same thing with Europe. The top 4 get into the Champions League where 4th place have to play in the playoff round, and then with the Europa League 5th and 6th get a place in the group stage. And then Europe is available through the qualifying rounds to 7th place if the winner of the German FA Cup, which is the DFB Pokal, so say Bayern won the Pokal and another team finished 7th, that 7th place team will go through the qualifying rounds of the Europa League. The race for the top 5 is essentially sorted. We know the 5 teams that are going to make up that top 5, but 6th and 7th, the race for that, it's pretty wide open. And this is where I think the Bundesliga is going to be really exciting for the rest of the season until it's finished, because just 9 points separate 6th place Schalke and 12th place Frankfurt. And Frankfurt have a game in hand, so there's a handful of teams there that are in with a good shout of qualifying for the Europa League. The likes of Schalke, Wolfsburg, Freiburg, Hoffenheim, my other team Köln, Union Berlin, Frankfurt and Hertha Berlin, they're all in the race essentially, those 2 Europa League spots. Some small teams together. Union Berlin, who are having their first ever season in the Bundesliga, they could be in Europe next season. They could be like Sheffield United in the Premier League. It's absolutely mental, and it's definitely something to keep your eye on. Now I've bigged up the Bundesliga this season as a very exciting league, and this campaign has been very exciting. But When it comes to relegation, it is nowhere near as tight. Paderborn's fate looks pretty bleak. They're bottom of the league. But it's quite surprising when I was looking at the Bundesliga table just to remind myself, Werder Bremen are in big trouble as well, and they're a big club. And this is where the Bundesliga can be actually quite brutal. So the bottom two go straight down to the Bundesliga's Vi, which is the German Championship. But then the third bottom plays a relegation playoff against the third place team in the German Championship. I believe it is across 2 legs. And so the winner overall of that stays in the Bundesliga. So essentially 17th place, if they lost on aggregate, they'd be relegated, and then that third side in the Championship would be promoted. Paderborn are 6 points off of that playoff place and 10 points clear of safety in general. So yeah, I'd expect them to be going down this season. Whereas Bremen have a bit more hope. They've got a game in hand, which if they win, they go 1 point behind Fortuna Düsseldorf, who are in the playoff place, and then 5 points off of Mainz, who are in 15th. And so the situation at the moment for Paderborn, Bremen, Düsseldorf is quite bleak, but then there are other teams that sort of need to pull their fingers out, because a couple of wins that they could push for Europe, a couple of defeats, and they will be dragged into that, likes of Berlin, Mainz and Augsburg. And so to wrap up the video, let's have a look at some of the big fixtures that are coming up in the next couple of match weeks. Now the first week, next week, we are treated to the Revier Derby, which is Schalke versus Dortmund. And it's Dortmund hosting Schalke, albeit behind closed doors. Like I said earlier, Schalke's hopes of Champions League are very, very bleak, but they need to win games to make sure that they are in Europe next season. As for Dortmund, they just need to keep breathing down the necks of Bayern and win this one, you know, close the gap to 1 point potentially. It's unlikely to happen, but they just need to keep putting pressure on Bayern if they want to lift the title. And it's likely that Bayern will win their first game back in the Bundesliga with their trip to Union Berlin. Also in week 1 is a huge game down at the bottom as Paderborn take on Düsseldorf. In the second week there's a big game in the race for Champions League spot as Gladbach take on Leverkusen. And just in the third week, not even the third week, it's a midweek game, Dortmund versus Bayern. Der Klassiker pretty much instantly, and for me I think the winner of that will go on to win the title. If Dortmund win it, you know, they cut the gap to 1 point, possibly even overtake Bayern. It just depends on how the results go in the first 2 weeks. But it's a huge game, Der Klassiker generally, and especially in this season where, yeah, it looks like it could be the title decider. So a lot in store over the next couple of weeks, which I am absolutely gassed about. I cannot wait, and yeah, football's back. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you have found that useful. If you have, remember to leave it a like, subscribe if you haven't yet already, follow me on my socials, and again, let me know who you're supporting in the comment section below. And also let me know if you want to see more Bundesliga content. I could do like a preview and prediction every week ahead of the games, or like a review, just anything like that. Let me know in the comment section below, and I think it's definitely something I'd be keen to do, so let me know. Until then, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.